Hello buddy, it's Wyvern here with another bit of Total War Warhammer 2 Quick Match gameplay. As I've been on a bit of a Tomb King streak trying to get a decent Dwarf game, I've got an overabundance of Tomb King replays right now. But this was a pretty fun one. It was MMP Alpine Ridge, and it's a bit of undead on undead mashup. So my opponent here, Vampire Coast, and we are doing Tomb Kings. So it's a bit of an interesting matchup. I do think it's actually a bit favorable towards the Tomb Kings because they don't have to worry about fear and terror. And they could bring a lot of their own shooting to the field, and potentially better shooting than what the Vampire Coast can do. On a map like MP of Alpine Ridge, which also has lots of sloping terrain, the bows are even more effective than the handguns. So potentially we've got even more of an advantage here. We'll definitely see how things break down. Now going over here, we've got for our Lord, Cetra the Imperishable. Personally, I think as far as Lords go, you can almost go with whatever, but I really do think Cetra's a nice choice. He does give you access to Jaff's Incantation of Cursed Blades. He does get Nair's Incantation of Protection. Sekhmet's Incantation of Skullstorm, great for clearing out mobs of trash. Wrath of Tra. And then the Blessed Blade of Tra, which lets him blind a target. And he's an anti-large specialist who can really kind of mulch through a lot of the big monsters and big beasties that you might see from the Vampire Coast. Alongside him, we do have a Tomb Prince who is looking to scout on ahead alongside his liege, who is armed with the Blade of Setep for the debuffs, as well as Guardian, to of course help Cetra stay alive. And he's also an anti-large specialist, so he'll also be useful. If we need to get into melee against Count Noctilus or his friends here, the Necrophact Colossi, these guys should do rather well. Finally, we do have a Necrotect here who is mostly here to support the Bone Giants. He does have the Stone Shaper, which gives more armor and missile resistance to the Bone Giants if they're near him, though actually right now they are not. Actually spread him out, which is probably a bit of a mistake, but what can you do? And then he does have Restore, so he's going to be able to heal them. He's also not a pushover in melee, so if push comes to shove, he can dive in and slug it out with especially zombie pirate deckhands and trash troops like that. For a front line, it's simply a horde of skeleton warriors looking to tie my opponent down. And the main damage dealers are really the archers and the bone giants. We've got 2 units of bone giants. These guys potentially, I do believe they outshoot Necrophact Colossi in a straight up fight. They can shoot down deck droppers okay. They can deal with artillery pieces pretty effectively. You guys actually kind of saw that in the 2v2 replay Davina recently sent in. They'll actually do okay against artillery, especially with Necrotect support, so pretty solid there. And then we've got a horde of skeleton archers who, with help from debuffs from Armor Sundering as well as the Blade of Setep, will be able to melt these squishy mobs of infantry and even Necrophact Colossi. Finally, we do have the King Nikesh Scorpion Legion in the back to provide some poison and anti-large. And a reserve to plug up the line if my opponent, for example, brought a horde of Depth Guard. Not really what I would expect, but if he did, it'd be good there. Now for my opponent, he did decide to go with a lot of shooting and Necrophact Colossi. So he's got 2 Necrophact Colossi over here on the flank, already meandering over to the side, trying to get shots in. And then he does have Count Nocti over here, who does have the Bombardment spell. He's got Arcane Conduit, he's got Pit of Shades, Withering, Spellcast Miasma, Wind of Death. He's actually got all these spells, Invocation of the Heck, and the Drowned Dead. So all very, very powerful. So surprisingly, no Ross Moondial, so he's not going to be able to summon up more zombies that way on my backline. Front line is actually composed entirely of zombie pirate gunnery mobs, as well as the black spot on the flank. So there's a boatload of AP shooting, potentially very powerful against constructs, especially if you can get in range of my giants, or hell, even if you can get in on Cetra. 4 units of zombie pirate deckhands with polearms, and then a single unit of deck dropper handguns to harass. And unfortunately, with this deployment, it's actually a bit disadvantageous for my opponent. I think that on this map, it's better to deploy over here if you're a very black powder heavy army, or deploy further back so that your opponent has to crest the ridge to engage you. You do not want to be fighting around this ridge. I think that's a big mistake, and that's really not where you want to be. But regardless, feeling confident, I do push forward. I do get a scout off, so I saw all that he's got over here. I was aware now that he had Necrophact Colossi. It's very important to do scouting, especially on maps like this. It's something I see a lot of people don't do, but it's actually very valuable. Now, unfortunately, deck droppers are picking away my Bone Giant and my Skeleton Warriors, killing a few, but really, who gives a darn? The Bone Giant is going to turn away and send a few of them packing. So you can see the shot goes in there and immediately nails 4 deck droppers. So quite the shot. The other Bone Giant somehow whiffs. Like, he falls short and hits the ground, which is like quite the failure. Like, he should probably go back and learn some archery. But this Bone Giant here, picking off a few models here and there, takes off another one and doing good, pretty good. This other guy's still hitting the ground. I'm not entirely sure what he's aiming at to be missing so badly, but what can you do? In the meantime, I'm pivoting my entire army over to this flank because I want to get in and engage on these Necrophact Colossi because I want them out of the fight. They're top priority target. A lot less concerned about these zombie pirate gunnery mobs because they've got very bad angle of attack. Of course, they're low to the ground, so their flat trajectory guns are going to have a lot of issues hitting. Plus, I can shield them off with my skeleton warriors. Now, in the meantime, my opponent here is kind of reconsidering his life decisions, pulling his deck droppers a little bit further out of range, trying to kite, and I'm not really interested in letting my Bone Giant get caught by this mob of handguns, so he's running for dear life and trying to get away. In the meantime, over here, a little bit of friendly fire. The Necrophix Colossus, you can see, gets shot by his friend, but now in comes the fire. And these guys only have 75 armor, so do keep that in mind. Skeleton Archers do quite a bit of damage, and we're going to start whittling these guys down. So you can see the shots from the Legion of Demonetization raining in, dropping their armor. And now they're getting pounded, so some pretty bad stuff. This guy's already down, losing thousands of HP a second. My opponent not pulling back, wasting his shots here on the Skeleton Warriors, probably a big mistake, and losing these guys very quickly. You can see the Necrophix Colossus already crumbling, already dropping his summoned Zombie Pirate deckhands, and still under fire. In the meantime, Cetra and company are swinging around, looking to get those debuffs in. And so that Necrophix is already goner, and that was very, very quick. In the meantime, we're going to start shifting our target onto this other Necrophix Colossus. You can see some friendly fire, I do believe, there. We're going to dash in with the Tomb Prince and focus this guy down. So now his armor's going to be sundered. And so he's down to 45 armor. Gets hit by the Blade of Setep, so now he's down to 15, which means all of those Skeleton Archers are doing immense damage. If we look at their stats, their range stats are actually not bad. They don't have that much, they don't have like any AP. But a 10 and 1, you know, with only 15 armor, most of that's going through. And yeah, Necrophix Colossus is going down like a 9-pin. He's also missing physical resist, so he's even more vulnerable. In the meantime, over here, you can see the Skeleton Warriors. They are getting swarmed, but we are going to be able to get a nice Sacrament's Incantation of the Skullstorm. So you can see it's sweeping through the line here, through these Zombie Pirate deckhands, and just completely wiping them. And in the meantime, yes, Noctilus is wandering through. Yes, he's summoning some Zombie Pirate deckhands, but he's lost so many handguns. And as he wanders forward, he's getting intercepted. You can see King Nekesh's Scorpion Legion pushing in, and in the meantime, the Archers have removed these deckhands from play. And as my opponent pushes forward on me, we're going to be able to swing around, engage with King Nekesh's Legion, engage with Skeleton Warriors, and hopefully extricate our Tomb Prince and Cetra and gun after Noctilus. And you can see Nocti Boy here getting focused pretty heavily, losing thousands of HP. He's just not built to sustain firepower of this magnitude. In the meantime, the deck droppers over here are starting to crumble. The Bone Giant's whiffing and kind of wasting their ammo there. Bone Giants really let me down this game, but I think they would have been better in an alternate situation, depending on how my opponent brought a different build. But you can see Count Noctilus just getting peppered down by that overwhelming fire. Definitely a huge weakness for these big constructs. Taking a Bone Giant shot to the face, trying to get into melee, but that's honestly not going to cut the mustard on for him. Even if he does get in on the Necrotech and the Bone Giants, they're going to be able to take him down. He's just getting whittled down, lose that armor sundered. Bone Giant's about to pop another shot, reconsiders, I guess, but another shot right in the face there, stunning him for a moment, making him really sad. Another shot in the face, and Count Noctilus just falling apart at this point. He's crumbling, he's getting whittled down. My opponent did get another summon here with the Pirate deckhands, but it just doesn't matter. I can keep these guys on guard mode and keep firing. And Count Noctilus there loses a leg and falls to the ground. He does actually do damage there as he falls in Necrotech, which is kind of funny. Anytime the bats over here are crumbling, especially with the loss of the Lord, and although my opponent is able to disentangle himself, it is a little too late. We still have hordes of archers on the field. We still actually have some Skeleton Warriors coming back into the fray. We do still have these Skeleton Warriors in the fight. King Nekesh's Legion, of course, an elite unit for popping up trash. And my opponent actually forgot about his deckhands here, just kind of sitting around doing nothing. And as my opponent does start peppering me down here, the Bone Giants do get hit with a Restore and simply start wandering away. And we do get another Incantation of the Skullstorm, so we can watch as it's going to cleave through this trash. You can see just swing through. They're actually bleeding, which is kind of weird. You wouldn't think they'd be bleeding, but it does sweep through them very, very efficiently there, completely smushing them. It was some impressive kill counts for Cetra. Just look at this, 159 kills, so he's really doing good here. And at this point, my opponent's army is going to shatter and crumble to dust. There are still some summons there, but my opponent does GG out before they have to be killed. So, a pretty one-sided affair, I would say. But if we look at the build, I do think that it's actually a pretty potent building. It's Vampire Coast, and I do have to be wary of, say, a Horde of Depth Guard. But if your opponent brings a bunch of Depth Guard, you can use your Bone Giants to pick them apart. You can use Cetra to stall, Necrotech to stall, that sort of stuff, and whittle them down and focus Skeleton Archer fire. And against Necrophix Colossi, you've got Bone Giants to apply pressure, you've got Bone Giants to counter artillery. You've got some really good options with the Tomb Kings, and because you're unbreakable and can just mass arcing fire, you can be so effective in my opinion, and it really makes a potent counter, I think, to the Vampire Coast. I know some people think Vampire Coast is top tier right now, but there's a lot of players who insist they're like a tier 0 faction alongside Vampire Counts. I completely disagree, and I think that especially for factions like Tomb Kings here, who can just mass firepower, it is so tough. And you can say, yes, my opponent here, he did kind of engage badly with Necrophix, but even if he hadn't, the Bone Giants could have been picking away at the Necrophix in the back line, winning that fight, while at the same time my archers could have been the ones whittling down these zombie pirate gunnery mobs. So there's some give and take there, but it is, I think, a matchup favorable to Tomb Kings. Regardless, well played to my opponent here, Lurikins. I think the build actually is not that bad. I probably would bring mortars, honestly, to try to clear out the trash, but I don't think the build's necessarily that bad. I do think I'd probably look into dimching the Necrovex Claws. I think you're better off bringing mortars and massed handguns and that sort of stuff instead, and maybe with the upcoming patch, massed hand cannons to shut down monsters, while at the same time having that firepower to deal with archers because they're such a threat. And probably more chaff for the front line. But also, well played. I do hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you found it entertaining, and perhaps give you some ideas on how to deal with this matchup as the Tomb Kings. As I said, I'm still going through, trying to do the request, trying to get some dwarf gameplay, but we'll see if that happens. It's tough. But like I said, I do hope you guys enjoyed. As usual, if you enjoyed, leave a like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. If you have any comments, any criticism, any questions, don't hesitate to post them down below. I will do my best to respond as soon as I can. I thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye for now.